We've all been there, staring at the gas pump as the numbers climb higher than your heart rate on a treadmill. You want an EV to save money, and you're tired of the maintenance. But the thought of being stuck at a charging station in the middle of nowhere with a dead battery makes you want to hide under the bed. It's the classic modern dilemma. Do you stick with the gas guzzler you know, or do you take a gamble on a full electric future you're not quite ready for? Well, enter the 2026 Nissan Rogue Plug-In Hybrid. For years, Nissan fans have been practically begging for this car, especially since the Rogue is one of the best-selling SUVs in the country. But here's the kicker that most people don't realize. This isn't actually a Nissan under the hood. It's a secret collaboration that might be the smartest move Nissan has made in a decade. Or it could be a total identity crisis that leaves buyers confused. Today, we're tearing down the 2026 Rogue PHEV. We're talking about 38 miles of pure electric range, a hidden third row you won't believe they fit inside, and why this Frankenstein SUV might actually be better than the original. Stick around, because by the end of this, you're going to know exactly why this car exists and if it's actually worth your hard-earned money. If you look at the 2026 Rogue PHEV from the outside, it looks exactly like what you'd expect. It's a Rogue. It's got that signature V-motion grille, the sharp LED headlights that look like they're squinting at you, and that rugged but refined stance that has made it a staple in every suburban driveway in America. It's handsome, it's modern, and it doesn't scream, "I'm a hybrid," with weird blue accents or aerodynamic wheels that look like dinner plates. But open the hood or look at the chassis and things get weird. You see, Nissan has this incredible e-power system they sell in Europe and Japan, where the gas engine just acts as a generator for the electric motors. We all expected that tech to show up here. Instead, Nissan basically called up their partners over at Mitsubishi and asked to borrow the homework for the Outlander PHEV. The result is a Nissan body wrapped around Mitsubishi's world-class plug-in hybrid powertrain. Now, some purists might call this badge engineering or a lack of effort, and they're worried that the car won't feel like a true Nissan. But here's the reality. The Mitsubishi Outlander PHEV has been the gold standard for affordable plug-ins globally for years. By stealing this tech, Nissan has bypassed years of R&D headaches and potential reliability first-gen bugs. They've delivered a proven, reliable system right out of the gate. You get the Nissan style and seats you love with the Mitsubishi brains that actually work. It's a win-win, even if it feels a little like cheating.
Let's talk about performance, because most people buy a Rogue because it's fine. It gets you to work, it fits the kids, and it doesn't break the bank. It's the vanilla latte of SUVs, reliable, predictable, but not exactly exciting. The standard gas Rogue uses a tiny 1.5-liter three-cylinder engine. It's efficient, sure, but let's be honest, it sounds a bit like a lawnmower when you really step on it to pass someone on the highway. There's a certain amount of stress involved when you're merging into fast traffic and the engine is screaming just to get you up to speed. The PHEV version, however, completely changes the personality of the car. It swaps that tiny engine out for a 2.4-liter four-cylinder paired with two high-output electric motors. Suddenly, you've got 248 horsepower and a massive 332 pound-feet of torque. That torque is the real game-changer here. Because of those electric motors, the Rogue PHEV feels punchy and instant the second you touch the pedal. It's not a Tesla Plaid, you're not going to be winning many drag races, but it'll merge onto the highway or zip through city traffic without making you pray to the gods of acceleration. It is, quite literally, the most powerful and smoothest Rogue ever made.
Now let's get into the plug-in part of the name, because that's why you're here. You've got a 20 kilowatt-hour battery tucked under the floor, and Nissan claims you can get about 38 miles on pure electricity before the gas engine even thinks about waking up. On paper, 38 miles doesn't sound like a lot when you have companies like Tesla or Lucid talking about 300 or 400 miles of range. You might be sitting there thinking, why would I bother plugging it in every night just for 38 miles? That seems like a lot of work for a little bit of juice. But here's the math that most people miss, and it's the secret to why PHEVs are exploding in popularity. The average American commute is only about 20 to 30 miles a day. If you charge this thing in your garage overnight, you could literally go months without visiting a gas station. You get the EV lifestyle for your daily grind. No noise, no vibration, and zero gas used.
But the moment you want to take a road trip to the mountains or drive across the state, you've got a gas tank ready to go 420 miles. No stopping for an hour at a dusty charging station in the middle of nowhere while your kids cry in the back seat. It's the ultimate no-compromise setup for people who want to be green, but still have a life.
Moving inside, Nissan knew they couldn't just copy-paste the Mitsubishi interior if they wanted to keep their loyal customers. People buy Nissans because they have some of the best seats in the industry. Their zero-gravity seats are legitimately some of the most comfortable things you'll ever sit in on a long drive. The challenge was fitting all that hybrid hardware, the batteries, the extra motors, and the cooling systems, without turning the cabin into a cramped closet. Plus, for the 2026 model, they decided to offer a third row of seats. In a compact SUV? That sounds like a recipe for a claustrophobic nightmare. You'd think the interior would feel tiny once you cram all that tech under the floorboards. Somehow, though, they pulled it off. The cabin feels premium, especially if you go for the platinum trim with the quilted leather that looks like it belongs in an Infiniti. And that third row? Look, I'm going to be real with you. It's not for adults. Don't put your 6-foot-tall cousin back there unless you really want to annoy him. But for small kids, or those emergency moments when you need to fit everyone from the soccer game into one car, it's a total lifesaver. Plus, you get a 12.3-inch digital dash and a massive 10.8-inch head-up display that makes you feel like you're flying a jet instead of driving to the grocery store. Of course, we have to talk about the chore part of owning a plug-in. To get those 38 miles of range and save all that money on gas, you actually have to plug it in. If you're the type of person who forgets to charge your phone at night, this might be a challenge. If you use a standard 120-volt wall outlet, the kind you plug your toaster or your vacuum into, it's going to take about 16 hours to fully charge. That's a long time to wait for less than 40 miles of range. If you're a heavy driver who comes home late and leaves early, that slow charging could be a massive deal breaker. The solution, and really the only way to own this car properly, is a Level 2 home charger. With a 240-volt setup, your charge time drops to about 7.5 hours. Basically, you plug it in when you get home from work at 6 p.m., and by the time you're sipping your coffee at 7 a.m. the next morning, it's 100% ready to go. It's a small lifestyle shift, but it pays off every single time you drive past a gas station with those $5 a gallon signs. It's about the peace of mind knowing your fuel costs are pennies on the dollar compared to everyone else on the road.
One of the weirdest and coolest things about this Rogue is the drive modes. Most SUVs in this class give you Eco for when you're feeling cheap and Sport for when you're feeling, well, slightly less cheap. Maybe a snow mode if you live in the north. But the Rogue PHEV comes with 7 different drive modes. 7! There's one called Tarmac, and when I first saw that, I laughed. Is Nissan trying to tell me this is a rally car? Why does a family crossover need a Tarmac mode? While it's definitely not a race car, these modes actually change how the dual-motor AWD system behaves in a way that's pretty impressive. Tarmac mode sharpens the throttle for dry pavement, while gravel and mud modes actually make this one of the more capable crossovers for light off-roading. Because it has an electric motor on both the front and back axles, it can shift power between the wheels way faster than a traditional mechanical AWD system. It doesn't have to wait for a drive shaft to spin up, it just sends electricity where it's needed instantly. It's surprisingly confident in the dirt, which is great for those weekend camping trips or snowy commutes.
Now, let's get to the part everyone cares about, the price. The standard gas Rogue starts in the low $30,000 range, which is why you see so many of them. It's a bargain. The PHEV, however, is not that cheap. Because Nissan is positioning this as a premium product, it only comes in the higher SL and Platinum trims. You're looking at a price tag that starts in the mid-$40,000 and can easily climb over $50,000 with options. That's a massive jump from the base model. You could buy a whole lot of gas for $15,000 extra dollars. You might be asking yourself if the math even works out. Here's how you justify it: the tax credits and the long-term total cost of ownership. Depending on where you live, you might qualify for thousands of dollars in federal or state incentives for buying a plug-in. Combine that with the fact that you're essentially getting 2 cars in one, a city EV and a long-range hybrid, and the math starts to make a lot of sense for families who plan to keep the car for 5 to 10 years. You aren't just buying a car, you're prepaying for your fuel for the next decade.
Reliability is the final piece of the puzzle. Whenever a brand launches a first-ever model like this, there's always a fear. You don't want to be the beta tester for a new engine that might have some weird electronic glitch that leaves you stranded on the side of the road. And let's be honest, Nissan's history with hybrids in the US hasn't been great. Does anyone even remember the old Pathfinder hybrid? Exactly. No one does, because it wasn't very good. People are rightfully nervous about Nissan trying to build a complex PHEV system from scratch. But again, this is where that Mitsubishi partnership is a huge win. Mitsubishi has been refining this exact PHEV system since 2013. It is tried, tested, and battle-hardened across the globe. By using this powertrain, Nissan isn't giving you a first-gen product. They're giving you a 10th-gen product in a prettier wrapper. It's arguably the most reliable powertrain in Nissan's current lineup because all the bugs were worked out years ago on a different assembly line.
So, at the end of the day, is the 2026 Nissan Rogue PHEV a genius move or just another SUV in a crowded market? If you have nowhere to plug it in at home, honestly, don't buy this. You'll just be hauling around a heavy battery for no reason, and your gas mileage will actually be worse than the standard Rogue because of all that extra weight. You'd be wasting your money and missing the point. But if you have a garage, a short commute, and you're tired of the all-or-nothing choice between gas and electric, this is the sweet spot. It's faster than the base Rogue, more comfortable than a lot of its competitors, and built on a foundation that won't leave you stranded. Nissan might have borrowed the hardware, but they've created a package that finally makes sense for the average family. The competition is getting fierce, though, with the Toyota RAV4 Prime and the Hyundai Tucson plug-in breathing down Nissan's neck. You have to decide. Do you want the proven Toyota or this new Rogue with the better seats and the extra row? Let me know in the comments which one you'd put in your driveway. And if this breakdown helped you out, do me a huge favor. Hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. It helps us keep making these deep dives for you. If you want to see how this Rogue stacks up against the Toyota RAV4 Prime in a head-to-head battle, click the video on the screen right now. I'll see you over there.